Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Thursday, October 9th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
Along the 40-kilometer stretch in Lansdowne Station, where 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan lived, cadaver dogs combed through woods, trails, and pipeline paths, searching for any trace of the missing siblings. But today, RCMP say they've come up empty-handed.
No human remains were found related to this or any other investigation.
Jack and Lily were last seen on May 2nd, and while family members have long asked for cadaver dogs to be used, RCMP say the decision was about timing and strategy.
And then in conjunction with police dog services, this was the timing that was most appropriate to bring in our human remains detection dogs to kind of take that to the next step.
It took the team 3 days to cover the full area, from around the home to the trails and the spot where a pink blanket was found months ago. Experts say a failed search doesn't always mean there's nothing there.
Sometimes the smell doesn't reach the surface, and sometimes it just doesn't work and the cadaver dogs aren't successful. So just because they didn't indicate something on the search, it doesn't mean there aren't remains there.
RCMP are still treating this as a missing persons case. They're still receiving tips and have hours of surveillance video to go through.
Even though they say it's still a missing person investigation, they've got a lot of assets committed to conducting an investigation. And they wouldn't be doing that if they didn't feel there was people to investigate.
For now, there are no new searches planned unless new information comes in.
Or we decide that there is a new technology or a new avenue or something that could help us, we would deploy that.
After 5 long months, the search for Jack and Lily continues. Quieter now, but not over. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Halifax.
6-year-old Oliver is an active boy, and his parents hope he'll stay that way for a long time.
So yeah, skiing, biking, fishing.
It's all thanks to a new drug, Agamree or vamorolone, just approved in Canada for boys with Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
The difficulty in Duchenne muscular dystrophy revolves around a protein called dystrophin, and that protein is either missing or not working well based on a problem in the gene.
The muscles break down and inflammation leads to the formation of scar tissue.
Vamorolone helps to reduce that muscle inflammation, thereby, kind of preventing some of the scar tissue formation and that ends up accompanying the muscle damage.
Dr. Craig Campbell says because this drug was specifically developed for Duchenne patients, it reduces the typical side effects associated with traditional steroid treatments, things like fragile bones, weight gain, and short stature.
He got on during the clinical trial, and he's doing so far really good. We see no side effects, and he's got good strength for now and good stamina.
There are drugs that are available for boys with Duchenne. They're available in the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, but they were not available in Canada.
John Davidson, who toured Canada in support of his son Jesse as he battled Duchenne muscular dystrophy, says Defeat Duchenne Canada played a key role in funding research on vamorolone. Jesse died in 2009 at the age of 29.
I think Jesse would probably smile and say, well, it's about time.
Vamorolone is only approved for patients up to a certain weight, but Oliver's family hopes by the time he reaches that, new medications will be available. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
More and more often, businesses say this is a common and frightening scene in Midland's downtown core. Some owners considering picking up shop.
They actually locked the door in between clients as there was a few homeless people around. So it's just getting very much out of hand at the moment, and we're thinking of, we're locking our doors as well.
This alley adjacent to the guest house shelter is where the owner of Panache Spa and Academy says most of the incidents have been happening. She says from fights to drug use, the impact is starting to affect their bottom line.
And it is getting quite serious now, and the hairdressers at the back, if they decide to leave, then it's really detrimental to my business. And I'm just hoping that things can be solved a little better for everybody.
People's general awareness of homelessness and addiction and mental health issues have really been raised over the course of the summer with some of the activity that's happened in Barrie with the encampment clearing and all the notoriety news around it.
The solution, a complex one. The impact of addiction front and center in many municipalities, but the mayor says it's actually improving.
There is always that omnipresent issue that yes, we have a homeless shelter, and yes, we have people experiencing homelessness, and we have residents who may look like they're homeless, but they're not, who frequent the downtown core.
Reiterating that municipal governments cannot build infrastructure needed to help with homelessness.
We don't build housing, nor do we have any jurisdiction or funding for the social service nets that are all part of what the county delivers with provincial money. However, that being said, we're not unsympathetic. We're certainly not in any type of denial that these problems exist, and we work closely with the county and their service providers.
In a statement to CTV News, the guest house has said they have not seen an increase in individuals at their shelter since the state of emergency was declared in Barrie on September 9th. And the shelter has chosen not to hand out harm reduction kits, noticing a reduction in the number of people openly using in the parking lot across from the shelter. The County of Simcoe has confirmed that they have funded 26 beds in the town of Midland, with plans to expand shelter spaces as winter approaches. Luke Samard, CTV News, Midland.
Someone said, you know, this is a difficult decision. It is a difficult decision, and frankly, with the utmost respect, I don't actually care that it's a difficult decision. We have to deal with difficult decisions all the time at this council. And the difficult decision for other people is trying to find a place to sleep at night through the winter.
The Modular site will be at a city-owned piece of property at the corner of Wilton Grove Road and Cheese Factory Road. It will be home to 60 heated shelter units, along with a central trailer that will have a washroom and laundry facilities. The shelter site plan is approved for up to 2 years. The land is slated for industrial development in the future, but is currently growing corn. City staff told councillors they considered every available publicly owned property in the city, but this was the only one that met the criteria.
That we were told this is the one, and I'm troubled by that. I would like, as a council committee, to be able to look at some alternatives and not just be given one.
This is the site, folks. We either endorse this or we do nothing. And I've heard a lot of you say doing nothing's not acceptable. And I know that people are out there on the streets right now. The alternate to this is that people continue to be sheltered in doorways and alleys and parking lots and neighborhood parks.
Rene Vandenberg thinks his ordeal began here in his backyard, a place where he often spends time.
I guess I got bitten by a mosquito doing lawn work here in the backyard is my most logical explanation.
He developed headaches that after a few days became so painful, he went to the hospital. After many tests, he received a diagnosis that came as a surprise.
It turned out that it was viral meningitis as a result of West Nile.
West Nile virus is transmitted through mosquitoes. On Friday, Region of Waterloo Public Health confirmed it had its first human case of the virus since last year, and a second case has been identified since.
As we experienced a very hot summer with continued warm temperatures into September, this has extended the life cycle of mosquitoes in our region.
Public Health issuing a reminder that people should continue to take precautions to try and avoid mosquito bites, like using repellents and covering up with long sleeves, pants, and a hat.
We also recommend that residents eliminate mosquito breeding grounds, not to allow outdoor objects to collect water, cover your rain barrels with a fine mesh screen, change the water in bird baths at least once a week.
Vandenberg doesn't have standing water in his backyard and says contracting the virus in mid-September was unexpected.
I thought mosquitoes would die off at the end of August when temperatures get colder at night.
Vandenberg ended up spending 11 days in the hospital. He's now home and recovering.
I still have a little bit of a headache. Right now, it's manageable with Advil.
Most people who contract West Nile virus don't have any symptoms, and those that do often recover at home.
Those who do have symptoms most typically have a mild febrile illness that can last for a few days. Mild meaning it's not usually severe enough to bring people into hospital, but people can feel pretty crummy for a couple of days.
But Dr. Isaac Bogoch says 1% to 2% can experience neuroinvasive disease that can be serious.
The key here is prevention. Make sure that people are aware that it's circulating at certain times of year and then taking steps to avoid and prevent mosquito bites to prevent transmission of this infection.
Vandenberg says his story is a reminder to take those easy precautionary steps.
1% is not as little as you think it is.
Dr. Bogach says it is important to be aware of West Nile virus, just as it is important to be aware of tick-borne illnesses. Take the appropriate precautions against being bitten, but don't let it prevent you from spending time in the great outdoors.
In front of St. Luc High School Tuesday morning, a 14-year-old girl was attacked with what Montreal police are calling an edged weapon. She suffered serious injuries, including an injury just below her eye.
The young lady, she was transported to the hospital with serious injuries at the upper body. Basically no life-threatening though, but she was in shock at the time that she was transported.
It happened around 9 a.m., right before classes started. A 17-year-old boy was located a few hours later by police at a different school. The teen has now been charged with attempted murder and possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose. He appeared in youth court Wednesday. The victim and the accused cannot be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act.
That's basically all the info that we have concerning that attack. The link between the two teenagers still to be determined. Investigator may have the information, but it's not information that we will disclose at this point.
For people that live in the area, it's shocking that something like this could happen, especially when it involves minors.
No, that breaks my heart. I'm a new mom, so obviously that really hits me. For me, I've found this area to be very safe, very friendly, very family oriented. So I'm shocked that violence like that would happen so close by.
The school says resources have been made available for students who need support. The teen will undergo a psychiatric evaluation while being detained. He is expected back in court November 3rd. Jack Richardson, CTV News.
This was fine, and all of a sudden, we've got cracks and missing pieces, which...
It started with a knock at her door in August and a man offering to repair the cement along her house, a simple job, or so Jocelyn Calos thought.
We needed a bit of parging. He said, well, we're working down there. We're very willing to help you out.
He told her he was with a company called HomeSense Contractors, offering to do the work for $11,500. But soon after, the price started climbing.
They had two guys dig up right down to the bottom of the basement. They kept saying there was another problem and they needed more money. Foolishly, we gave them more than we should have.
By the time the digging stopped, Calos says she paid $90,000. Instead of repairs, she says she was left with more damage and the workers never came back.
They injected something under the house and we don't know what they put in. It was a horrendous mess. I mean, it was just a ridiculous job.
Then came another knock, this time from a man calling himself Kevin Smith, claiming to be a City of Ottawa inspector.
He had an official tag on saying he was an inspector of the city, and then on the reverse, he'd been a former police officer.
She says he recommended another company, Harbor Trade Construction, to fix the damage. A company with no phone number, no address, and no website linked to Ottawa, asking for another $43,000, which she refused to pay. And the city confirms no inspector ever visited her home.
Now we have to get the whole thing redone because we realize now that we've been defrauded royally.
CTV News tried contacting HomeSense Contractors, but their listed number went straight to voicemail, and their address on their website leads to an unrelated business. Police say they are investigating, and this kind of scam isn't rare.
This is actually the biggest one that's going around, and it comes around in the spring and it comes around in the fall. It goes by different names: the Irish paver scam, the construction scam, the roof scam, and it's pretty much all the same scam. They give you a price, and then the price keeps escalating, and then they eventually just walk away.
As for Calos, she says she's not only out of money, but has no idea how much it will cost to fix the damage left behind.
By bringing this attention to many other people, particularly older people, that, you know, we're very trusting sometimes, and we perhaps shouldn't be as trusting as we are.
The city says it's now exploring licensing for contractors. There is no timeline or guarantee it would have helped in this case, but police say the best protection is to get multiple quotes and never hire someone who just shows up at your door.
Policing has
Policing Free Schools, in partnership with Black Lives Matter Sudbury, held a campaign tour stop outside the Rainbow District School Board office. More than 30 people attended to send a clear message to the provincial government.
We are collectively saying to Doug Ford and the Minister of Education, fund our schools, fund our communities, not policing in schools.
Also in attendance was Nickel Belt MPP France Gélina, who shared her concerns about a controversial bill.
Bill 33 means that they wouldn't be school boards anymore. It would be the government would pick somebody in Toronto in charge of schools in Northern Ontario. That makes no sense. Bill 33 means that a police officer would be in every single one of our schools.
While officials at Rainbow District School Board would not comment on the rally itself, they did provide a statement about the successful partnership between the board and the Greater Sudbury Police Service. It reads in part, while there are different models across the province, locally, school resource officers play a positive and proactive role. They are not policing in our schools. They are building respectful relationships within the school community. They are a familiar face that students and staff go to for support, resources, and guidance. Early connection with young people benefits schools and the communities that they serve. A GSPS spokesperson says at the request of all 4 school boards locally, the service maintains a consistent presence in schools with 2 school resource officers and 2 community safety personnel serving 84 elementary and secondary schools in the area. Policing Free Schools will continue its provincial campaign in Simcoe County on Thursday and other stops next week, culminating in a province-wide rally at Queen's Park on October 20th, the first day the legislature returns. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
Peter Nygard will not go to trial in Manitoba.
Well, obviously, he's satisfied with the outcome.
The 84-year-old former fashion mogul was facing charges of sexual assault and unlawful confinement. But on Wednesday, Judge Mary Kate Harvey ordered a stay of proceedings, saying Nygard's charter rights were breached after police lost decades-old evidence. There is significant prejudice to the ability of counsel to make full answer and defense, and therefore to the accused's right to a fair trial, Harvey wrote in her 41-page decision. Nygard was charged in 2023 after a woman came forward alleging she was locked in a suite and sexually assaulted in 1993 during a visit to Nygard's warehouse in Winnipeg. Court heard following the alleged assault, police conducted a brief wellness check with the woman, and a week later, RCMP took a full statement at her home in Vancouver. But any notes or records from those interactions are gone, either lost or purged from police databases in the 3 decades since. It is critically important that police forces take appropriate steps to ensure that communications with victims, even those that may be incomplete, not be purged from a police information storage system without appropriate evaluation, Harvey wrote in her decision, calling this one of the clearest of cases warranting a stay of proceedings.
There is a fundamental unfairness to an accused where the evidence of what was said back then isn't available to them.
Nygard's lawyer Jerry Weeb says she hopes the outcome of this case can lead to improvements.
I can understand how, when a case ends the way that this one did, it's unsatisfying or it feels unfinished because it didn't end with a determination on the merits. But I think this is a learning experience for everyone involved.
But trauma therapist Shannon Maroney, who has advocated for victims of Nygard, says she worries about the message this sends to survivors.
They see what even this particular victim in this case has gone through, and they might be thinking, I'm better off just keeping this to myself. And that, I think, is the one of the hardest parts to cope with this announcement.
In a statement, Manitoba's prosecution service says independent counsel is carefully reviewing the decision to assess if there's any basis for appeal. We also reached out to Vancouver RCMP for comment about the lost evidence and was told police will review the written decision and determine its impact on current operations. They add evidence collection and retention procedures have evolved considerably over the past 30 years.
A Saskatoon woman who was in the same garage where Megan Gallagher was killed took the witness stand in Roderick Sutherland's trial. 30-year-old Gallagher was killed inside Sutherland's garage on September 20th, 2020. He's pleaded not guilty to manslaughter, unlawful confinement, and offering an indignity to human remains. Cheyenne Petatus testified she was high and drunk the day Gallagher was killed. On the stand, she was vague and tight-lipped, often repeating that she couldn't remember details about what happened. Jurors later saw a different side in her recorded police interview. She told an investigator that Gallagher was zip-tied to an office chair and beaten inside the garage. In January, Petatus pleaded guilty to manslaughter. The Crown asked why she pleaded guilty. She responded, saying she doesn't remember. Laurel Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A group of faculty at the First Nations University say they are feeling the impact of a deficit that they believe is nearing $2 million.
So what I'm seeing here is our university spinning in a downward spiral in a really bad way. We are financially unstable.
In a written statement, the group of faculty say they have lost confidence in the university's leadership and board of governors. They feel excluded from conversation about university matters.
As someone myself who has stood up and sent letters to the board, I'm marginalized as well now. So I know that it's happening. I've watched it and I've experienced it.
Those behind the statement have not identified themselves for fear of reprisal. It follows leak of a 2023 Deloitte report commissioned by a previous board that found evidence of budget overages and breach of some university policies. Alan Adam is a former board vice chair who says the investigation was prompted by a whistleblower.
Whistleblower laws come into effect that the person who did the whistleblowing had to be protected and that they were not to be fired. And we found out soon after that that person was fired as well too. So
Adams says he subsequently resigned his board position.
Now we just have to live with whatever the outcome is going to be, and hopefully they make good changes so that the university can be on good standing.
The provincial government is following the controversy.
But our Minister of Advanced Education will be certainly keeping abreast of that particular instance. But I think largely you're going to find that their funding arrangement is with the federal government.
The current board chair has been contacted for comment about the faculty concerns, but has yet to respond. However, in a previous statement, the board said it has full confidence in the university's leadership. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
I go downtown and tears come to my eyes to see what a disaster it's become.
A downtown end city, former Mayor Stephen Mandel spent more than a decade trying to shape into a place people wanted to be.
The city seems like it's falling apart, and it's very, very frustrating. We have to start being much more aggressive in cleaning up the city of Edmonton to make it attractive so people come and invest here and want to build a life here.
As the municipal election nears, Mandel has become more vocal about what he believes are the issues plaguing the city.
I think our city's got problems that aren't being coped properly with, and we need people at the helm can do the kind of things and can make the kind of changes and include the kind of people to make a difference in the future of our city.
He had a big impact on the city, and he doesn't like the way things are going. And you know, in some of his comments, he's absolutely right.
Political analyst John Brennan says Mandel's comments also reflect a segment of public opinion.
The majority of Edmontonians feel that the city is on the wrong track. Whole bunch of reasons for that. The increases in property taxes, the whole infill mess in mature neighborhoods, you know, the construction chaos going on in the city, the issues around public safety, crime, and social disorder.
Mandel says the key to moving the city forward is to be creative and develop better partnerships, including with police and the province. He says the city needs a decisive mayor and council that's passionate about improving all areas of the city.
I will say, unequivocally, I think this is the worst council we've had in 100 years. Well, there's a couple that I think should be reelected, but for the most part, they've been divisive, destructive, and not very creative in their 4 years.
The politics of this is there's one candidate who's running on a platform of continuity, that things aren't that bad, and there's a number of others who are running on a platform of we need change. It's time for change at City Hall. And they could all split the vote once again, as they did in 2001.
Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.